Я подтверждение ситуации являю настройку. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Talking Lead AK KORNER, proudly presented by Century Arms.
What is that?
Hold on, why is it blurred? Hold on.
Turn your screen blur off.
Yeah. You take screen blur off.
Hey, have you got a BFT?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll need one of those too.
This hits end of the month.
What is that thing you're holding?
This is the new Rival S, the steel framed one that'll come out. It releases January 3rd. I just got
I mean in your hand. What is that object you're holding in your hand?
It's a magazine.
A magazine.
Printed.
Do you still make those?
Yeah. What this antiquated, yeah.
Did they bring that on a mule cart?
From the Oregon Trail.
Can you hear me?
What was that?
Can you hear me?
No, not with people doing sound effects in the background.
Can you hear me?
All right, while we're waiting on the guns, we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's do that.
This is the AP5. Roller delay blowback firearm, 9mm.
Based off the MP5.
No, it is the AP5. I mean, it's a
Built on HK machinery.
Yeah, HK machinery, HK technical data package, HK metallurgy. It is a. We say it's based off the original technical data package.
Okay, based off the MP5. That's what I said. Yeah,
that's fair.
But I love the people that say when that came out, they're like, "I'll just get an SP1." They're like, "No, you won't."
Yeah.
Shut up.
And then in all fairness, they were priced higher, and then dealers were just jacking them up because they were jacking up every gun. But then they were like, "I'll get a MP5, I'll get an HK for that price." I was like, "Well, if ours is retailing right now for $2,600, that means theirs is retailing for $4,500, $5,000." So
yeah. Yeah, or my favorite one was the PSL. Oh, for that, I'll just get a real Dragunov. Yeah, you will. I want you to. I will freaking give you $1,000 if you go get a real Dragunov for $2,500.
Yeah.
Pipe dream.
Go. I'll just get a real one for that. I had a guy. People are so fun. You know how Inland makes the M1 carbine. It's actually Car makes it for them, but you know what I mean. And they're like, I don't know, $1,100 or something like that. And the guy said, he goes, "Well, for that much money, I'll just go get an authentic World War II model." I'm like, "Oh, that's what you're planning on doing, huh?"
You're like, pick me up one as well, please.
Yeah, if you can find a Rockola Inland, Singer, an IBM carbine for $1,100, I'm in.
Yeah. Give me a tank while you're at it too.
All right, y'all ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do this.
I've been ready, brother.
I know you're warmed up in the minus 6 degrees.
I am warmed up.
Weather out there.
Oh, it's +6 now. Sun's out.
Oh, it's warmed up. Nice. You'll be ready to go out and run some marathons in that.
Yeah, the temperature has doubled from -6 to +6.
All right, guys, we are back with the Season 4 finale of the Talking Lead AK Corner, presented by our friends over at Century Arms. This is our 12th episode, and we've got a biggie for you guys. We're giving away another BFT47 rifle from Century Arms. And to help us do that, joining us today, he hasn't been on in a long time. We've got our good buddy, Sergeant Major Lance Nutt, joining us. Lance, welcome in.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me, Marty.
Absolutely. And Lance is the creator. He founded Sheepdog Impact Assistance. You guys have heard me talk about the organization on the show over the years. We enjoy doing everything that we can for them, and we appreciate all you lead heads that have over the years donated and supported Sheepdog Impact Assistance. Also joining us this episode, which I think this is the first time this year that you've joined us, Adam, is Adam Ruonala with Century Arms. Adam, welcome in.
Good to be here. It's been a while.
It has. It's been too long, and we've got a lot to talk to you about today as well. And Paul Markel the Pimp-Hand of America, student of the gun, Professor Paul Markel, is also joining us this episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Every time I join Marty, he says, "Well, I think Adam's going to come on if he can," but I'm not sure.
But then I find out you're on, and I'm like, I'm out. So he tricked me. He said you weren't coming, and then you just popped
I didn't announce it until the very last second, though. So no, this is gonna be a good show, and Andrew may pop in. He's in a what would you call it? Internet deprived area.
with 10 children running around out of the holiday season.
Right. Yeah. So if he finds a quiet spot and an internet connection, he may hop on and join us as well. But it's going to be a good show because we're going to announce the winner. We're going to go ahead and do that right off of the Century Arms BFT47. We did a raffle with Sheepdog to raise some money. And before we talk about how well we did with that, we're going to let Lance talk about that. Adam, talk about the BFT47, Century's awesome rifle that they released this year.
Yeah, so the BFT47 is something that is a long time coming. As we know, the AK platform has been synonymous with that durable, affordable, just beefy, strong, get it done kind of gun. Obviously Paul's done a lot of work in kind of explaining why it is such a viable option. But for a long time, the expectations set and the level of demand was based on what people knew from the imported market. Mm-hmm. Things like the Mighty Wazzer that Century Arms has been bringing in for years. And there was a certain standard that was said, hey, if we're going to evolve into the American market and let American manufacturing take over and control the volume, because we know imports are just that. They're imports, and they are the level of consistency in terms of the volume that comes in is, quite frankly, open to a lot of factors, whether it be, import bans by political administrations, demand from things like political unrest overseas,
COVID, supply,
exactly,
demand,
all these unforeseen issues. We know that we need to make sure that this platform is available based on American manufacturing. But with that, people said there were certain standards they really wanted. They wanted to see the traditional line, so the bayonet lug, the cleaning rod, the optics rail, and then the biggest things, they wanted to see a more reinforced trunnion. We know that the original technical data package did not call for a bulged or forged trunnion, but that has become what is the standard now in the U.S. So there was a lot of going back and forth on, is it a bulged trunnion stronger? Is it a forged trunnion that's stronger? So Palmetto State Armory was something that did some great stuff back in the day. You have Arsenal, you have Zastava, you have Pioneer, you have all these companies that are now making it, but somebody that wasn't really in that conversation in terms of really stepping up was Century, and that wasn't acceptable, being that they've been a leader in the AK business for so long and did a great job with the Visca, with that S7 tool steel. Mm-hmm. It was durable, but people weren't happy yet because they wanted that bulge. Exactly. And Marty, you have thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds for that gun, and it's run for you flawlessly.
No problem.
But the ultimate thing is the consumer really creates the demand, and they wanted a bulged, forged trunnion. So we did that. We did just that. It's
is
the
it,
namesake.
Adam, is it the size matters kind of thing? Is that what we're...
I think it's perception matters. Ultimately, like we said, the Visca has run great for us. I personally own a Visca with over 20,000 rounds through it. And it looks like it has 20,000 rounds through it, but the fact of the matter is when I pull trigger, it still goes bang. But the bulge forged trunnion on the BFT47 was an answer to the consumer's demand. And we wanted to do it at a price point that everybody could afford. And it's gone gangbusters for us. The gun runs flawlessly. We're seeing zero deformation on the trunnion after 10,000 rounds of running all different types of ammo. And it's just been exciting. We launched it at SHOT Show last year, or 2022, and it's just gone great for us. We have a couple different lines, everything from the core, which is what you held up there, which is the traditional wood, to some essentials, which is a stripped down version that's the most cost effective and allows you to kind of do whatever you want to do to the gun. If you want to change the furniture out, really kind of make it your own, it's the most affordable version for that. And then we have some enhanced models that come with optics and different bells and whistles too. So it's been great. It's something that is a huge part of our line.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're giving one of those away on the show today. We ran a raffle fundraiser for Sheepdog Impact Assistance. Adam, thank you for donating that rifle so that we could help our buddies over at Sheepdog IA a little bit. I wish we had more time with this giveaway. It only ran for 10 days. So the amount of participation that we got in those 10 days was amazing. We appreciate all you lead heads, all you listeners taking part. Lance, talk a little bit about Sheepdog Impact Assistance for our new listeners that aren't familiar with you guys, your organization, what it is, all the amazing things you do for our veterans.
I appreciate that, Marty. And, talking about who and what we are as an organization, especially this time of year, brings a lot home from the standpoint of the holiday season is always so trying for our nation's veterans and first responders, especially those that are away from their families this time of year. So when I think about what we do as an organization, and for those of you that are not familiar with us, let's start with the name, right? A sheepdog for us is what defines the name of or type of individual that serves others and is willing to lay their life down in defense of others, right? So veterans, first responders, all men and women that are willing to ultimately sacrifice their lives if need be, right? And when you think about the power of that, right, think about an entire religion, Christianity, was wrapped around the idea that a man was willing to die for you and I, right? And so when you relate that to the men and women today that are willing to die for us, no, we're not trying to put them on a pedestal with Christ in any way whatsoever, but it should drive home the point of how valuable and how important these men and women are when you think about the fact that they are willing to put their lives on the line. And that truly defines what a sheepdog is. It's someone that's willing to run into a burning building when everyone else is sane enough to run out. It's the type of man or woman that's willing to run in the direction of shots being fired when everyone else is trying to escape that dangerous situation, right? It's chaos. And our nation's sheepdogs, our nation's veterans and first responders are that first line of defense for civilization as a whole and as we know it. And yet people, for whatever reason, tend to take that for granted. So for us as an organization, it's about honoring those men and women, and we honor them by serving them. We have three primary pillars, the first being our outdoor adventure program, which is all about getting these men and women up off the couch, re-engaged in positive lifestyle change by taking them on an adventure of a lifetime, whether it's snowmobiling in Yellowstone, hiking in Yosemite, running the Tunnel to Towers race in New York City, giving them the opportunity to check off a bucket list through skydiving, scuba diving, hunting, fishing, camping, you name it. If a veteran or first responder comes to us with a dream, in many ways, of something they'd like to accomplish or experience, we make it possible through our outdoor adventure program. And again, it's all about getting these men and women up off the couch when maybe they think their lives are over after having served. And that second pillar is our Warrior Path program, which is a peer-on-peer 30-day intensive program that begins with 7 days of physical participation with a team that brings them back together, as it does with our outdoor adventure program, around like-minded individuals, fellow veterans and or first responders, to create a peer network of men and women that are there to support us individually as veterans and first responders, understanding that we now have an opportunity to deal with past trauma as a team with men and women who have experienced much of the same type of trauma, whether it's combat trauma, first responder line of duty trauma, in conjunction with trauma that these men and women may have experienced when they were young men and women in their childhood, or it could be something like divorce, financial stress, you name it. Trauma is trauma, and all human beings experience it. Yeah. PTSD isn't just a veteran or first responder issue, but it's the men and women that we serve, veterans and first responders who have experienced post-traumatic stress at multiple levels in their lives. And through our Warrior Path program, it's all about helping them redefine that trauma through post-traumatic growth and understanding that their trauma should not be allowed to define who they are today or who they're going to be for the rest of their lives. Quite the contrary, we teach them how to use that trauma into launching into living their best lives because of it, not in spite of it. And then our third and final piece is the continued service part of our organization that begins with the element of our disaster response program, enabling veterans and first responders to continue giving back, an opportunity to continue serving through disaster response missions, but also what we now refer to today as disasters in your community that happen every day. The disaster of homelessness, whether it's serving in a soup kitchen, a homeless shelter, the disaster of youth sports in this country today, where adults are not willing to step up and coach and teach and mentor our young people today. So we are encouraging our veterans and first responders through our organization to get up off that couch and re-engage in their communities, whether it's coaching Little League sports, helping and volunteering in their local church, a local soup kitchen, you name it, a local park or playground that's in shambles. We encourage them to go in and clean it up, repair it, whatever they might be able to do to improve that community overall. And why is it that the greatest generation was all about coming home and making a difference in their local communities? Why are our veterans today and our first responders, when they're no longer serving on a daily basis, why are they not getting out in their communities and giving back and being the leaders that they were when they served? Why are they not continuing to be leaders after that service? So for us as an organization, it's all about that. Getting these men and women up off the couch, teaching them, helping them to learn how to heal, and that healing process begins with them. We can't give them a magic pill or push the easy button and these men and women automatically be better again. It's up to them to find and use the tools that are needed, and we introduce a lot of the practices and tools that they need to improve their lives. And then that final, most important piece, it's all about continued service. It's about giving back, and we call that helping is healing. So when these men and women are able to go out and help in their local communities or somewhere in their country through a disaster mission, it helps them heal. And we've seen the power of it. And our organization is at the front line of this. And we're excited about, this time of year in the holidays, we do so much. And that's where this raffle has become really important for us, is that this time of year we do a lot of what we call our Black Ops missions, where we don't advertise all the stuff that we do for veteran and first responder families in need during the holidays. For example, we had it's hard to talk about because we're really close with a lot of our local first responders, and we had a deputy sheriff killed this weekend, family, young children, and we're working to step up in a big way and help that family navigate the holidays, especially these young people that no longer have their father. And that's just one example of multiple families across the country that we're assisting this year through our holiday outreach effort. And a lot of that is here at Christmas, giving back to families that are really struggling. And that, again, that's specifically veteran and first responder families that are struggling through the holidays, where we are adopting these families, especially the children, and giving them clothes, shoes, other basic home necessities. We had a couple children the other day ask us for bedding, sheets, comforters, and pillows for their beds, right? Think about that. They were asking for toothbrushes, socks, shoes, just the basics that so many of us take for granted. And then we also give those children an opportunity to list their top 3 toy choices. And we do our very best to get them exactly what they ask for, minus the ponies and the Corvettes, of course, and doing what we can to give them the best possible Christmas, knowing that they are probably dealing with some really tough times as a family. So again, this raffle has helped us in a major way. The money that we've raised through it alone, we've been able to touch 13 different veteran and first responder families,
Nice.
multiple children, as we've used this money to pay for gifts and necessities that these families have asked for.
Fantastic. And I personally have had firsthand experience with your organization's programs where, I assisted you guys on a disaster mission here in Tennessee when we had tornadoes a couple of years ago. You guys had sent a DRT team up here, and, just to see it firsthand, the veterans at work, and like you said, you can see the healing, you can see that, the enjoyment that they give of giving back and offering their services. And, I was very privileged to be a part of that. And then also we did that hunt with those Vietnam veterans a few years back. And, just to see those guys, the look on their face to be out there, and just the camaraderie between them, to being able to get together and talk themselves, and like-minded individuals kind of thing, been through the same life experiences. And that was just very humbling too. And that stuff isn't cheap. It doesn't run on thanks. It takes money, and it takes person power. And to get involved with Sheepdog, you guys can go to their website, sheepdogia.org, and there are links there if you'd like to donate financially, or if you've got, manpower that you could donate, or things, because they need things, especially when you go to these disaster areas. They need water, they need food, they need, like Lance was saying, bedding for children this time of year, toothbrushes and things like that. Lance, talk about your website where they can go and do all that.
Well, and that is sheepdogia.org. That's sheepdogia, all one word, .org, and it lists all of our different programs. And obviously, if there's a veteran or first responder that's out there listening to this show that it needs a little something extra in their lives, especially when it comes to maybe they're dealing with some mental wellness issues, they're just in a low spot in their lives, our organization's here to do our best to lift you up. So reach out to us directly. We'll get you on an outdoor adventure. We'll get you signed up for our Warrior Path program, or just simply give you an opportunity to continue serving through our organization. But anyone that wants to learn more about what we do and or would like to donate or contribute or volunteer, they can navigate the website. It's pretty good about linking you to all the different points on how we serve and how we give back as an organization. So certainly encourage people to go there, and they can also follow us on multiple social media platforms, the typical ones that are out there these days.
The Grams, the Facebooks, all those, you guys can go there. And you can also email me, talkinglead@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on the social medias as well. If you know a veteran that is in need of some help, or if you are a veteran and you feel more comfortable getting in touch with me, I'm more than happy to do that. I've sent Lance several people that have contacted me directly, and Lance is taking care of them. So however we can get you guys in touch with them. So Lance, we did the BFT47 raffle. We have a winner. I know that they're waiting anxiously. They're listening, because that was part of the stipulations. You have to listen to win. So I know they're listening, and we're not going to read a name. We're going to read the number, because you had raffle numbers. So because some people want to stay anonymous, and we're going to respect that. So Lance.
Hey, first and foremost, I got to definitely say thank you to Century Arms. We couldn't have done this without them, and Marty and your team of just giving us this opportunity to do the raffle. And the showing of support in just 10 days was phenomenal, and so we appreciate everybody out there. The Talking Lead fan base that has followed this and supported us through the raffle. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Got to send a shout out to our buddy Bill also with getting his FLEOA network involved too, the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association.
You bet.
Thank you, Bill.
Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association done an amazing job also. So, well, without further ado, we will announce the ticket number. We have already identified who this person is, so we'll be reaching out to them as soon as possible. And the ticket number is W as in whiskey, 1626. And I say again, whiskey 1626 is the winner of this year's raffle. And again, a huge thank you to Century Arms.
It's an honor to be a part of it. And I tell you, sitting here listening to the story, obviously Marty's told us a lot about you guys and familiar with your program, but something that just kind of hit me. Century has a program called Century Salutes, and the whole goal of the program is to not only put our public support behind the men and women, like you say, that do so much to put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms, both overseas and domestically, and then the struggles that some of them endure afterwards. And the Century Salutes program is built to partner with a charitable organization that has a directive primarily for veterans of law enforcement and military. And I think it'd be an honor to have a conversation with you after this about partnering up with you guys. We just got done with one called Josh's House, which is the Josh Pallotta Fund that raised money. We were able to raise because of the generosity of Century supporters across the country and purchasing product that was directly branded for Josh's House. We were able to donate over $25,000 to them. Nice. And I would love to have a conversation with you about partnering with you for a half a year to raise money, raise awareness, and then hopefully, be able to give back to those that have given so much for us.
We would love that. We'd be honored, and thank you, Adam. So I'll look forward
Absolutely. To it. My pleasure. I look forward to talking to you more.
Fantastic. So, Adam, hold that BFT up again. So, for those who didn't get involved with the raffle, that's what you didn't win. That beautiful BFT47 right there. We've given 2 of those away this year, thanks to Adam and Century Arms. So, you lead heads, you have opportunities here to get involved. You participate, listen, win. That's how we do it here. And not only that, but all the other giveaways that Century has put up for every episode of the Talking Lead podcast. We've given something away from Century, from our good friends at Mission First Tactical with these awesome dump trays that they have put together with our logo on there. Seal One with their cleaning kits. We just really appreciate all our sponsors that made this season 4, such a success. So thank you, and keep on listening, and we're going to continue with the show here.
Hey, I'm Adam with Canik USA, here talking about an exciting new addition to the Canik firearms line, the Canik Mete Pro Series. Each Canik Mete model will now feature a Pro version as well as a standard configuration, meaning you get all the amazing features that come with the Mete line, along with some serious upgrades. These upgrades start with an instantly noticeable feature in the new aggressive slide cuts, which not only look cool, but allow for easier manipulation of the firearm. Next is the chrome-plated, fluted, 1/2 by 28 threaded barrel. The Pro Series also features tritium front sights and blacked out rear sights. Finally, the world-famous Canik trigger is now a polymer 90-degree design. The first 2 available versions of the Pro Series will be the Canik Mete SFX and the Canik Mete SFT. But as I mentioned before, there's much more coming soon. Thanks for watching, and you can find out more about the Pro Series and all Canik products at canikarms.com and canikusa.com. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can be informed of all the latest Canik news. And as always, stay safe and stay tuned.
We're going to talk.
All right. Thank you very much. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Paul Markel is right there. Joining us from the bitter cold Utah. Is that where you're at?
I'm in northeast Utah up in the mountains right now. Yeah.
Yeah, his secluded area of the country. He's probably working on his next book or something.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've been struggling with the monolith that is freaking Amazon. Yeah, on one hand, Amazon is fantastic because they've set up an author-based service that helps a lot of authors to get published. They have, and so that's a good thing. But on the other hand, it's also Amazon. So
yeah,
I've been waiting for the proof copies. I
said it's that necessary evil.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil. So I've been waiting for the proof copies for my latest book. I think it was 5 days ago. I got we apologize. Your package is running late. Your package is running late. Your package is running late.
I've gotten several of those.
And, and I don't know whether it's them or it's probably a combination of them and the U.S. Postal Service right now.
Well, just think about the volume of orders that they get. Yeah.
It happens every year this time of year.
Yeah,
I should have known better than to finish a book in December, but
that's your own fault.
Shame on me. Shame on me for doing that. But anyway, I actually have a new book that's it's called Beyond the Boo Boo, Traumatic First Aid for Citizens, and it details my 15-year journey to get people to shut the fuck up and put a tourniquet on. And people today, it's funny how we look at the present. We're like, oh yeah, everybody does that, or everyone's always done that, like traumatic first aid or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, actually, no. 15 years ago, the people that knew the intelligentsia were telling you, don't do that. You should never do that. And the pushback, there was only a few of us in the United States in the citizen, defense carry training world that were telling people, get traumatic first aid training and start carrying tourniquets. And the pushback, the hatred and the vitriol that we got, it was today, people don't believe it. They're like, oh no, everybody does. Police all carry tourniquets and everybody carries tourniquets. Like, yeah, 15 years ago when I said carry a tourniquet, I was a heretic. They wanted to burn me at the stake. Myself and Jaeger, rest his soul. We were pushing tourniquets in 06, 07. They're like, never do that. So anyway, long story short, or long story a little bit longer, the Beyond the Boo Boo book is actually, it details that 15-year struggle to get people to just shut the fuck up and do the right thing, put a tourniquet on there, and also what you should do. The training you should get. Every citizen should get traumatic medical training. Every citizen should know how to put a tourniquet on a person. Every citizen should know how to put a pressure dressing on a person. And then we get into the details like, and the reason I'm really passionate about this is because, when I became a Marine in 1987, our tourniquet was a green cravat and a stick, if you could find one. And then it was the last resort after all other means have failed. And what that translated to is by the time you figure out that you need a tourniquet, that you go find a cravat, start searching for a stick, then put it on, the patient's dead. That's what last resort after all other means have failed means the patient's dead. And if there was a silver lining that came out of the failed global war on terror, it's this. We figured out how to teach 18-year-old kids to keep their buddies alive on the battlefield while they were waiting for the corpsmen and the medics to show up. We figured that out. And we took that battlefield knowledge, and this is what always happens with wars, whether it's Civil War, World War I, II, III, whatever. If you're smart, you take those lessons and you bring them back and you apply them to the real world, to our world. And now police officers are saving people's lives with tourniquets. Citizens are saving. We just had, I told you about this, Marty. This summer we did our truncated Beyond the Boo Boo class where we did basically it's our version of Stop the Bleed. It's a pressure dressing and tourniquet class. And less than 10 days, I think it was like 9 days or 8 days, but it was very fast. One of our graduates saved a guy's life by putting a tourniquet on his arm. Took him to the hospital. The emergency room doctor said, who put this on? And they're like, oh, this guy did. And they're like, well, he did a really good job because if this tourniquet wasn't on his arm, he would be dead right now, and we would be putting him in a plastic bag.
Trauma first aid is something that everybody can use. I mean, you're gonna need to use that 99.999% sooner than you ever will need to use your firearm. So that's essential training.
And Paul,
Yeah.
I can remember coming in '88. You're talking about that transition when we were taught basic combat first aid. It was the tourniquet is the last resort, right?
Yeah.
You know, if all else fails, you put a tourniquet on, and to your point, with a stick and twisting a piece of cloth. To the war on terrorism, you know, my 30-year career of watching the evolution of everything that we taught in the Marine Corps and in the military, it was almost tourniquet first, right? Stop the bleeding is the most important thing that you are talking about in saving someone's life. And I can attest to at least 7 different Marines that I applied a tourniquet to in the combat zone that I will always say, you know, or watching tourniquets be applied, saying that especially when you're losing limbs or you have severe trauma to limbs, the only way they're not going to bleed out and die is the tourniquet. So good on you for calling that out, and it certainly needs to be applied nationally as almost the first resort, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, Paul, where's your book at? Where can people get your book?
Well, here's the deal, man. Well, I'm waiting on the proof copy.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
No, I've got to put in the final. All right, this is how it works in the publishing world, Marty. You write the book, you edit it, you send it away, you get it approved, you get the proof copy, you go through the physical proof copy, because I always, no matter how many times you read the digital form, no matter how many times you read the digital file, you will always find mistakes in the print copy. So you got to get the print copy and then correct those mistakes. Then, boom, send it out.
So when it comes out, where is it going to be?
It's going to be available. Well, it'll obviously always be at shopsotg.com.
Right here.
But it's always on Amazon. It'll be on Amazon as a Kindle, Amazon as a paperback, all that. But I do, for those of you that want to read my books, I did publish 5 books this summer. So, I mean, I wasn't just sitting around picking my nose.
You were busy this summer. Look at you go.
Yeah, I did the Marshall application of pistol, rifle, shotgun, 3 different books that are all companion pieces that work together. I did the precision rifle range book. I did the instructor development guide. We actually held, did we talk, since we had our first instructor development training program here, we held it in Salt Lake City a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm. We haven't talked since then, no, we haven't. But.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We had a class full of people, and they spent 3 full days learning how to be instructors. Because believe it or not, knowing how to do something doesn't necessarily mean that you can teach people how to do that thing.
Yeah.
So that was very gratifying. We're going to be doing a lot more of that. So
nice.
Even though we're kind of in winter quarters now, we are preparing a tremendous amount of training and programs going forward.
Get on your proofer's ass and get that book out, the Boo Boo book. What's it called again?
Oh, it's going to be called Beyond the Boo Boo.
Beyond the Boo Boo.
We used to. Funny story. We originally, when I started that program about 12 years ago, I called it Beyond the Band-Aid, right? Traumatic medical training, and we reached out to Johnson & Johnson because Band-Aid is trademarked like Kleenex and Jell-O and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we reached out to them, and they said, we're not interested at this time in relinquishing our copyright or letting you borrow that. I'm like, okay, well, we tried. So I had to take the Band-Aid word off of the published book, and I thought, well, I'll just throw Boo Boo in there.
All right. So when that comes out, you guys go to Student of the Gun or check it out on Amazon. Now I want to know what this is. Oh, so I've got Paul's Instagram.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you're turning into quite the musician. It seems like these days.
This is what happens when I'm left unsupervised.
I'm going to play this now. You guys won't be able to hear this, but our audience will be able to hear this. So this is Christmas Paul here. So I'm just going to play it and let you decide. the song you're playing there? I Am Santa Claus. So I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but I know our listening audience heard it. It just blew me out. It was up so loud. So Paul's been taking guitar lessons, apparently. You've been playing for years, though.
Well, actually, it was my wife years ago. I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I guess it was 2018. It was 2018. Jared contacted me and he said, Dad, we had a good year, we had a good quarter or whatever. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and give everybody bonuses. I'm like, rock on, check that out. And so, like a kid, I was like, what am I going to do with my bonus? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy myself an electric guitar. Because like most teenagers in the 80s, I had an electric guitar. I didn't know what I was doing, and I just made a lot of noise and annoyed my parents. But then I joined the Marine Corps, and my electric guitar, I don't know, it stayed home and went into a garage sale or something. And for years and years and years, I thought about it. I thought, I'd like to have one again. And then, the life got in the way, and I just pushed it aside. Excuses. So I used my bonus, and I bought a guitar. And it showed up at the house. My wife called me at work, and she's like, why is there a huge box from Sam Ash Music here? I said, that's my guitar. It's like,
you didn't ask her permission. What's wrong with you?
I was like, she's like, are you having a midlife crisis or? And I'm like, no, I'm having a midlife crisis. So thanks to the,
but see, Paul, you deserve that. You deserve that because for our listeners who don't know, Paul kicked cancer's ass. Paul had cancer. What was it? Year before last? When you were really?
It was 2019.
2019.
2019.
Was battling cancer, and he kicked its ass. So you deserve to treat yourself. That was awesome.
There you go. So anyway, long story short, man, when I was, in 1985, there was no YouTube. In 1983, 84, and I lived out in the country, and so we just kind of winged it. But today, if you're a teenager today, and you have a guitar or a piano or whatever, man, there are so many good tutorial videos that are available
on
right
YouTube?
Now. There's no reason not to.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, and
necessary evil.
Marty, if you want to, the entire version of that video I sent you, I just sent you like the 40-second version.
Yeah.
Because it was Zach put it up on our Student of the Gun YouTube channel.
Okay.
So the full 3-minute version of that is on the.
And what was the song? Tell me the song again that you were playing.
That's Iron Man.
Iron Man by who?
Please tell me that you guys recognize that.
Well, they didn't hear it. They didn't hear
the other guys.
They couldn't hear it.
Oh, that's right. You guys couldn't hear it. Oh, that's right.
They couldn't hear it.
They're all just sitting there. They're like, yeah, we'll just take Marty's word for it.
There's like we see Paul strumming a guitar there, so we don't know what it was. So that's why I wanted you to say so they would know what it was.
Yeah.
We're past that now, but the reason another reason why I wanted to have you on the show, Paul, is because we're going to be talking about Century Arms. We're going to talk about the history of Century Arms. We're going to be talking about the people that are behind Century Arms. We're going to be talking about their guns, their firearms, their other companies, Canic, also pronounced Yannick in other countries, and Red Army Standard. And we're going to talk about that new Romanian and U.S. Palm, and that new Romanian AK that I think is already available. I've seen it on some websites. So we didn't get the exclusive here, but Andrew did make a little mention of it a few episodes back. But we'll forgive you for that.
Yeah, I didn't get an exclusive either, but okay.
Yeah, so and you've got many years experience with Century Arms, Paul. So I thought you'd be the perfect guest.
Oh yeah, going back to the 90s.
Yeah,
going back to the 90s.
So
I remember when it was Century. It went through some name. Adam, you know about the name change stuff, right? The CIA,
Century International Arms. Yeah.
Well, let's do this, Paul. Let's let
Arms.
Adam's going to talk about the history of it, and then we'll let you pepper in, some flavor there as he goes through and talks about the history. So, Adam.
All right, do it.
And we've got a lot of listener questions too. Yes, sir.
Before we stop, maybe a quick transition here. I'm going to have to go here in a second. I don't want to log off while Adam is talking.
Uh-huh.
So I got a hard stop on another
All right,
meeting.
well, let's do this then. Sergeant Major's got to go. We appreciate you taking the time to be on, Lance, and once again give Sheepdog IA's info and anything else that you want to throw in.
No, I mean, again, I just want to stop and say thank you to all of you for what y'all do daily and supporting and making it possible for American citizens to continue maintaining a right that so many of us have fought for, and that's the Constitution. And the two most important to me are the freedom to say what's on my mind and the ability to defend that right. So thank you all for just continuing to champion the Second Amendment in so many ways. And as you know, veterans and first responders are heavy supporters of those rights. But also thank you for the support this year and what you all have done through this platform of talking about our organization, giving us the ability to truly do the best that we can for our nation's veterans and first responders. So I'll close out by saying again, anybody that needs us or would like to learn more, sheepdogia.org. And just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year as we go into 2023. God bless all of you and your families, and that Talking Lead family, the Lead Heads. Big thank you for everything they've done for us.
And one more thing, in 2023, what you guys got coming up? You got the gala. You're returning. You're getting over all the COVID restrictions and everything. You guys are bringing the gala back.
Yes, first time since COVID kicked us all down. Unfortunately, we are bringing our annual gala back, which will be in April, and we've got some really good line of entertainment and people that will be speaking there this year, and we're excited to get back together and celebrate. That's what our gala is all about, is celebrating our accomplishments and more importantly, celebrating the men and women that we serve. So all of you are invited. Obviously, the four of you, we'd love to see there if you can make it. But anyone that would like to attend, we sell out pretty fast. So if someone out there is listening and would like to make it this year, you'll be able to find out all the information on our website as well.
Yeah, and they have some awesome auction items there. You talk about, this BFT. There's usually, 5 or 6 other awesome things there, firearms-wise. But then there's trips and just all kinds of amazing things. You had a big vehicle one year, didn't you? Some kind of
we
off-road.
Did. We had a chapter of ours that was, I'm forgetting the name of the vehicle. It's one of those more unique
some big off-road, dealies. It was cool.
It was. So we're excited. Again, as we've all experienced this COVID mess, it's good to be able to get back out and spend time with human beings and socialize the way we're programmed to do, and excited to celebrate. So we look forward to that. And we appreciate your support, Marty, as always.
Well, Lance, we appreciate everything that you're doing with your organization, and I'll get you two in touch post-show.
Absolutely. Adam, Paul, thank you both. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And thank you again for the amazing support. It's made a big difference this year, and we're excited to get out there and keep making good things happen. Thank y'all both.
Merry Christmas, and thank you.
Marty, Merry Christmas.
Yes,
to y'all.
sir. We'll be in touch. All right. Awesome gentleman right there. Sergeant Major Lance Nutt. He's been on the show several times before. You guys can go back to our archives, check out some of the shows that he's been on in the past where we go into detail about how he started Sheepdog IA. Just a tremendous human being right there, so we appreciate him being on. So let's talk history of Century Arms. This, like I was saying earlier, we've had a lot of listener questions for this episode, and people are wanting to know about the history because they haven't really delved into the actual history, how Century Arms got started, and all the good juicy details. And Adam is gonna fill us in on that.
So I can dive in. So in the words of Paul, try to make a long story short, but if it's like Paul, it'll be a long story longer.
That's fine. We don't time this show, Adam. You get your money's worth here.
That's fair. So no, it's a really interesting story. So the beginning of Century Arms is completely opposite of what people would assume, I think. It actually started over 60 years ago in Montreal. And the company was started not as a importer or a manufacturer of firearms of any sort, but actually was a typewriter repair company.
No way.
Yeah.
Typewriter repair company in Canada.
So right in Canada. So it started as a local business in town, brick and mortar building, as everything was back then, and it was a community typewriter company. And they repaired and refurbished typewriters, and obviously typewriters at that time were, the predominant level of communication for type. We were joking earlier, I was holding up a magazine and Paul said, what is that? But back then print was everything. And it was a small business in a small town that, like a lot of businesses that did back then, the barter system was still a major part of the community. And we had a guy come in and he had 2 typewriters that needed some work done to them, but he didn't have money to pay for them at the time. Well, being that it was a community, the business was still agreed upon, and the offer was made, hey, do you have anything you'd like to trade for the services rendered? So the guy says, well, I have these 2 old rifles. And he brought in 2 Mosin Nagants and said, what can I get for these? And I don't know. Let's see what we can get for these. So not thinking that they were going to be these hot items, the owners of the company put out an ad in the local paper saying, hey, we have these 2 rifles. If you would like to buy them, come by the store.
That was back when in Canada where firearms were legal.
Well, that's a whole nother rabbit hole we're not going down right now, right?
Right.
But yeah, so
that just shows you how long ago that was. Yeah.
Buddy, this conversation we had about a year ago, and that would still be relevant. But put them up in the paper, and then also put them in the storefront. Put them in the window. Awesome. Said for sale. And so next thing you know, a guy comes in and says, I'll take them both. And said, oh, did you see the ad? He said, no, I saw them in the window. I want them. So bought them both. And then the phone starts ringing. And, hey, I saw you have these 2 rifles for sale. How much do you want for them? This. And the phone just kept ringing. Sorry, they're already sold. And so they said, well, maybe we're on to something. So then they put an ad in the paper saying, hey, if you have some rifles, from an estate sale or anything like that you might want to sell, we'd be interested in buying them. And next thing you know, business started to pick up there. Then they said, well, maybe there's some stuff we could do from local police departments, from importing, things like that, some small deals. Next thing you know, it is the business, and the typewriter business is actually no longer relevant.
What was the name? What was the name of the typewriter company? Do you know?
I believe it was Century, but I honestly, it was such a small part of the history that it's not even something that I know. I can find out, but off the top of my head, I don't.
That is a great story. I love it. I did not know that. That is
and so then obviously as local estate sales became less and less prevalent because a lot of it had already happened, and people that had a couple firearms in their closet but didn't want them or have interest in them or didn't really know what they had or wanted to keep them. As that business started to slow down, Century started really getting invested in going after importing stuff, whether it be surplus items or mainly surplus stocks from around the country, around the world. This became their prevalent business.
What year was this?
This was like 65 years ago.
Like 65 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, right at 65 years ago. So that would be do the math.
65 years ago. That's plenty good math for me.
And as as importation became a little more intricate to navigate, it became obvious that they were going to have to move the business to the United States. So they moved right across the border into Vermont and have had facilities in Vermont for over 50 years now. And we still actually have an office in Montreal. It's becoming tougher and tougher to do business, as you can imagine, with things the current way they are. But we do still have an office there. But our main logistics and manufacturing facility is run out of Georgia, Vermont, which you'll notice on the stampings of all of our guns.
Another key factor here you haven't mentioned, this is a family-owned and operated business.
Yeah, it is. So it's a family-owned business. They all still work directly in the industry. They all still work for the company. Everything from the day-to-day operations to as we, like you mentioned, as we expand into these other lines, some of the family is focusing more on things like U.S. Palm, Canic. But yes, it is a family-owned and operated business, which is very exciting. So we
that's
continue
interesting.
to go there.
I love that story. So the reason I asked about the name of the Typewriter company is it would be great if you guys did like an homage to the old name and named one of your rifles after them. Call it maybe the Typewriter or something. I don't know. Is there a gun already called the Typewriter that has that?
Chicago Typewriter was the nickname for the Thompson.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
The Tommy gun has that, but it has it for a very different reason. You know
right.
what I mean?
Oh yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so it's been a crazy story. At that point, obviously, importation was everything for Century, and for many, many years, even coming into what is much more recent, importation was everything. Being, they were the guys that had these, like we said, even most of the Nagants, even the C308, all kinds of things, the Wassers, the Dracos, all of these have been rather either surplus deals or deals they have made with foreign manufacturers to produce new but first time seen in the United States product to be sold to the American consumer. And it's been something that's grown and to the point where Century Arms for many, many years was one of the only and absolutely the leader in imported firearms into the United States. Millions and millions of Freedom devices brought into this country.
Freedom sticks.
Through Century Arms. And like Paul made a mention to, there's been some name changes or some modifications to the name. CIA was Century International Arms, which is still in relevance for certain import and export deals, Century Arms. And then there's been the additions of some brands. So Red Army Standard is the imported ammunition line that is everything from the traditional 7.62 by 39 to 8 millimeter, 9 millimeter, 5.56, 308, 7.62 by 54R, all kinds of these unique calibers that Century has brought in through the Red Army Standard line. Exactly right there. They've had what was the traditional red box that was synonymous with imported ammunition for many, many years. It's still there. And then the white box, which was going to be a little bit more focused on range ammo and, the affordability, especially as times got tight the last couple of years in ammunition prices. That was kind of what the white box was designed to meet the market of. So yeah, it's been a really cool story with Red Army. Then they were able to acquire U.S. Palm for the accessories line, AK grips, AK magazines, as you say there. U.S. Palm mags come with every Century Arms AK that goes out now. Obviously, they have their standalone website. The grips are, the ergonomical design of the grips is, widely regarded as one of the best platform grips for the AK out there. And that's instantly recognizable just when you grab the gun.
So the U.S. Palm, you guys, obviously you didn't start U.S. Palm, you acquired U.S. Palm, and you're doing the awesome magazines. I love the the waffle style magazines that they have, and the grips. I like the grips. I was just introduced to those, I guess, last year with your grips. But yeah, I mean, as far as the ergonomics, the feel, the grip that you've got on them. They're nice. They've got a nice feel to them, definitely.
Right. And, U.S. Palm was a brand that developed a huge cult following far before the acquisition by Century Arms because of the quality of the product and their, kind of their message, their intent to have a quality product at a price that the blue-collar firearms enthusiasts could afford. And when Century Arms acquired the brand, not only did they acquire the brand, they acquired the technical data package, and we're fortunate enough to bring one of the creators, one of the founders of U.S. Palm on in a management role, and he's still with us today, to ensure that the quality and the design of U.S. Palm stayed true to what the brand message was originally. And I think that's really why the success of the brand has continued to grow, is because this truly is based off of a company mission that was to create high quality stuff at affordable pricing, and it's just been gangbusters for us. So it's been really exciting. And then finally, like the last and probably the biggest partnership that has been on the side of the Century team is the acquisition of the distribution rights for Canik. And Canik was, the partnership started in 2012 with Century Arms and Canik over a handshake at SHOT Show. And you know how that is. A lot of handshakes happen at SHOT Show.
And I bet it wasn't on the floor either. I bet it was after hours at one of the bars. That's
actually, ironically, it was on the floor. It was the start.
Was it really? Okay.
But let's be honest, a lot more has grown with the Canik brand at the after hours at the Circle Bar and things like that.
Like this design right here that I'm showing on the screen.
The Miami
what
days,
in the
Miami
world?
Nights, that was probably a Circle Bar.
I was like, that's probably definitely a Circle Bar design there, but I love it. That's awesome. It's got the you got the U.S. palm tree on it.
Right,
palm tree.
Century and Canik, they started in 2012. Canik was not brand new, but definitely struggling to get a real foothold in the U.S. market. They were a quality product, but at that time they were still looking to find their own identity. Like truly, what was Canik and what was their place in the market? And through the insight that Century was able to provide, through the amazing partners we have, both as customers and then influencers and advisors like Paul and others, we were able to really create a niche for Canik that has grown from just being a cool price point gun to something that, quite frankly, rivals all the competitors out there in terms of not only quality, reliability, durability, but also still the price. And Canik has just grown. I mean, when the partnership started, the expectations for the gun, for the volume were very low in terms of what volume would, and to say it's exceeded that, 50 times over would still be an understatement. So it's been a fun ride. Canik just won Handgun of the Year with the Rival 2022 Handgun of the Year for both ICA Industry Choice Awards as well as Ballistics Best Full Size Handgun of the Year.
And I was showing a picture of the new Miami Days Canik. Let me bring my screen back up. Which
that is pretty cool.
And the cool thing about Canik that I think has allowed for there to be such a fan following is not only are we listening to what the consumer wants in terms of, obviously, the trigger on the Canik is something that we're very, very proud of, to then even the different styles of our trigger, the standard curved to a flat 90-degree break aluminum diamond cut trigger on the Rival, to the different styles of pistol, to include aesthetics like this. While we understand this gun isn't for everybody, there's nothing wrong, in our opinion, with having a personality behind your passion. And firearms, to a huge percentage of American population, is not only a lifestyle, it's a passion. It is a way that we express ourselves. And if you want to have something that's loud and fun, as long as you are still safe with it and still responsible with your ownership, we think there's nothing wrong with it. It's not going to be every gun that we
and
come
there's
out
not
and
anything wrong with it, and I think the fact when people realized or companies started showing that you can personalize your firearms to make them yours and more relatable to you, I think that just helped increase the sales of them as well. And
it has a wider reach, it has a wider appeal, and I think that's important. As we want to continue to educate Americans and educate the world, frankly, on the positive benefits of firearms ownership, I think it is important to understand that not everybody wants a brown gun or a black gun.
Right. It's just like cars, It's just like automobiles. It's just like shoes. I mean, look at shoes in the variety of colors and shapes and materials that that they're made out of. Everybody's different. Everybody likes a little something different. And the boring old bland FDE or black People get tired of that after a while, and this Miami Days really takes it to the next level, and it also shows not only the how comfortable you guys are with your brand, but the success that you can come out with something like this, because a company just starting out is not going to come out with this kind of a color design on their gun. But I dig it, man. I think it's awesome.
A traditional company would not.
Glock.
A traditional boardroom company would never do that, because they'd have to get 12 people around a table to all agree on it, and none of them would.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is obviously Canik is a very large company, and Canik USA is now an official company that we've got some ground has been broken, is what I'll say now, on some very new and innovative facilities that are going to take Canik to the next level in the United States. So we're really excited to continue to work on that and then announce it officially. But yeah, the Canik brand has really pushed Century on the evolution side as well, and on the product development. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier with the BFT47. The Visca was a fantastic product, but with the consumer asking for more, the level of intensity that has gone into the development of the Canik brand kind of spurred the level of development that went into the BFT47, and then went into the level of intensity that went into going out and finding other quality products with the import capability, like the AP5. We were talking about that.
Yeah, the AP5.
It's every guy out there, every shooter out there that is even slightly familiar with firearms platforms or is slightly familiar with movies or video games has always wanted to at least shoot, if not own, an MP5, a roller delayed blowback firearm. They're just, once you shoot it once, you understand how awesome
just
it is.
Because you want to slap it. You just want to slap it.
They gotta have the slap. And the fact that Century Arms.
Look at here, he's got one here for our video audience.
This is how you know you work in a gun office, when you can just rock and roll in your office.
Slap.
With paperweights, yeah. But the fact that we were able to work with the MKE facility out of Turkey, which is licensed by HK to run products off of original HK machinery with the original technical data package, with the same metallurgy, to come out with a version of the HK manufactured MP5 at a third of the price, is something that really speaks to the level of development in terms of our importation relationships, our pricing structure, understanding what is the U.S. market. And it's been incredibly exciting to not only build off the AK platform, both on imports and domestically manufactured product, but also outside of that as well, like the AP5.
Let's do this. Paul, do you have anything to add to that? You want to chime in on anything? I want to go to listener questions.
Ditto. Now, there's a lot of good stuff coming out of Canik, and the fact of the matter is, I've been carrying a TP9 since the original SA. Actually, I had one of the original TP9s. You remember the Dolphin guns?
We had the Dolphin, we had the Shark, we had the Stingray, all kinds of these very old
the original Dolphin gun. And then I started carrying the SA, the original SA, and shot the ever living crap out of that gun, and was very, very pleased with it. And the evolution of the company is obvious when you look at these pistols. The SA was fantastic. It was rugged, but it had proprietary sights and a proprietary sighting system. And so what did they do? They're like, okay, well, we'll modify that, and we'll make it so that the sights are a little larger, and that they can be changed if need be, what have you. And there was a lot of things that went into the improvement of the model, to the fact, now, I'll give you a great, for instance, the original optic-ready Canik pistols, you had to take off a plate, which included the rear sight. And some people are like, I don't care, it doesn't make a difference to me. And then other people are like, no, I still want the rear sight to be on there. So what did they do? With the TP9 Elite and with the Mete, like, no, you just remove the plate, put it on there, and you're good to go. And with the SFT, which I really like, and I did a torture test on it, and we've been running that gun for a long time, is the fact that you can direct mount the optics to it. It's super durable. It's just people, quite frankly, Adam, people are so spoiled. The consumer, if you're a consumer out there, I'm going to tell you, you might not know it, but you are one spoiled SOB compared to what was available 20 years ago and compared to today. You can't go wrong. You really can't.
And you're 100% right. I mean, the fact of the matter is that while a lot of people might be surprised, earlier I mentioned other companies that are manufacturing AKs out there that aren't Century Arms. The fact of the matter is that ultimately we're all in this together. And ultimately, a rising tide lifts all boats. And we need that. As the American consumer, we want there to be a hunger for your business. We want there to be the companies out there just not sitting on their laurels. You want to see people out there constantly developing new things, constantly pushing to provide product that you do want, so that you're not just left, well, this is all that's out there. You don't not necessarily like it, but you got to take it. So like you said, it's not just, here's what I have to offer, either buy it or shut up. Now it's, what do you want? Let us work hard to get there. And I think we're seeing in the firearms community, we're seeing options and variables that, like you said, are revolutionary. For instance, Marty, you were talking about it earlier. It looks very similar to the BFT, but this is actually
stand by. Let me bring this back up. There we go.
Yeah, no worries. This is actually a brand new imported model we're bringing now. This is the CGR rifle. So this one's actually coming out of Kujir as well. When we bring it back up.
Yeah, keep that up there for a minute. Yeah.
It's actually coming out of Kujir as well, out of the factory right next to the original factory. You can't really see it in here, but I'm sure you can show some later. But it's coming out of the Nova factory, which is actually right next door to the Kujir factory that we've brought the Dracos and the Wazers out of for many, many years.
Nice.
The reality is that the same workers work at both. They'll work at shift at one, they go over and work at this shift at the next factory over. So we were able to provide a quality manufactured imported AK to meet an excess in demand that was for imported guns, just by creating another part. I don't want to hold.
We're going to talk about the part. I want to, since you've got it up, let's talk about the features of the CGR. Now that you got it, I thought we were going to save it for later, but let's do it now. We're talking about it.
So, like you said, the traditional lines and the traditional aspects of an imported AK. Bayonet lug, cleaning rod. Something interesting. The coating on this is just fantastic. It is a very durable coating that has that sexy sheen to it that you don't get to see on a lot of AKs anymore. Obviously, you've got a forged barrel now. The trunnion is that durable forged trunnion that you were looking for. Something interesting on this is a lot of people want, the optics capability on an AK, and for many, many years, the only way to do that was to have the little side mount here that then you could attach and have it hang over the top of the dust cover. What's interesting about this is people started saying, all right, well, we'll put a Picatinny rail on top of it. But as we know, if you've ever shot an AK, you don't necessarily have that stable platform on a traditional dust cover because it's rattling all around. An AK is violent. An AK's tolerances are not like an AR's at all. And it's good. That's what makes it durable.
On purpose.
Is because it is this violent, controlled explosion every time you pull the trigger. What they did to mitigate some of that instability is this is actually a hinged dust cover. So when you pop it up, it actually stays functioning, but it stays stationary, which is going to give you a little bit more of that point of control. So when you're trying to hold zero with your optic on an AK, it gives you more stability, which is something that is, the traditional manufacturers from across the sea manufacturing AKs, but still following on some of that innovation that comes with realizing what the consumer wants, what the consumer needs, as optics have started to put out what is their traditional iron sights. And I know some people are going to say, hey, iron sights batteries never run out. That's 100% accurate. But if you can also have something that allows you to have that quick acquisition, that amplified target distance in terms of magnification, why wouldn't you use it if it's out there, if it's something that works for you? So it's really neat to see even the imported versions adopting to what we now know as a positive way to run your gun.
Now, the trigger group, is it the original Romanian trigger group?
This is so on these we were able, obviously with 922R compliance, there has to be a certain number of points that are accepted, that are changed into American components in order to be imported and then sold to the consumer. We were able to use different products, different parts here to check those boxes and still have the original trigger on it. But that's not to say, I mean, that's preference.
Sure.
The Rack 1 trigger that is on the majority of Century Arms AKs is a really quality trigger. And if you never shot it, I suggest you do, even if it's just go to a range and borrow somebody's or more likely get one. But it's a great trigger too. But this just has that imported trigger if you want to be more of a traditionalist in that sense.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are really going to dig that bayonet lug too, because that's been a want for a lot of the AK enthusiasts out there.
So it's
a beautiful rifle.
Exciting to see. Yeah, it's exciting to see that not only are the American manufactured AKs being so widely accepted because we are meeting what the consumer demand was, but now there's even more options in terms of imported AKs for those who are more traditionalists on that side. That all of these options are available through Century Arms.
And the CGR is available for sale now.
It is.
You can go to Atlantic Firearms. I know they've got it. There's probably several other places.
And for more information on it, you're welcome to go to our website. CenturyArms.com has a whole page dedicated to the CGR rifle, as well as all of our platforms, from the Wazer to the Dracos, to everything that we are known for. And obviously the Dracos. I'll give you one more tidbit. You want a piece of breaking information? I'll give you a piece of breaking information.
Yes.
Here you go.
Yes.
You are literally the first people in the country that will know this. Everybody else will find this out at SHOT Show. So one of the biggest things that AK enthusiasts around the country, love them or hate them, people know Dracos. And Dracos, for what they are, they have a pop cultural side to them that has become synonymous with the cool factor, but then they also make a hell of a truck gun. They really do. I mean, a little Micro DRACO, throw a brace
size
on it.
Yeah. Little backpack
SPR,
gun, goes right in your backpack. Heck yeah.
Exactly. But we know that the Dracos are a tough one not only to find at the dealer, but for us, they're even tougher to import, and especially keep up with volume. So what we were able to do, we were able to work with the factory, we were able to work with our engineering team, and at SHOT Show, we will be debuting the very first Micro DRACO U.S. manufactured.
Micro DRACO from the U.S. Nice.
So it'll be a U.S. manufactured Micro DRACO to the original technical data package with the original furniture. So it'll still have all of the aesthetic look and the operational capacity.
I hope you're ready to shut down production of everything else and just make those, because that's all anybody's going to want.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And, dealers and consumers across the country are always saying, hey, I can't find them. I wish I get more. Well, we're going to supply the demand. And who better to do it with the people that made the Draco famous in the first place? Absolutely.
That's huge. That's huge. I wasn't expecting that news. Merry Christmas, leadheads.
There you go. Just don't tell anybody.
Keep it quiet, leadheads. They want it to be a surprise at SHOT Show.
Too late.
Let's do this. Let's go
you
to.
Can't hit anything with those.
Do what?
I said, yeah, but you can't hit anything with those.
Hit everything you aim at. All right.
Let's be honest. Those are designed. I've seen some pretty cool trick shots. I've seen people hit and steal 400 or 500 yards with them. Obviously, like you said, it's the same premise as a micro compact pistol. It's a gun that is going to be used at a closer distance. It is a gun that has a certain purpose for a certain reason in terms of the advantages that come with its concealability. And if you're going to take in those factors, then you also have to take in the factors of what is going to be used for. And you're right, you're probably not as easily hitting targets at 200 yards, but if something's 20 yards ahead of you, you better be damn sure it's going to stop.
CQB, baby, it's for CQB.
No, I'm breaking balls because I'm being Mr. Consumer. No, when the original one came out, not this one here, but it was called the Micro, but it wasn't a Micro DRACO. It was the Micro. Help me out.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The one previous to this.
Right.
And I've got one of those, and I was shooting steel pepper poppers at 100 yards with it. And
right.
Not a problem. They're like, AKs are not accurate. Shut up. You're not accurate. You know what you're talking about. But anyway.
Shut up. You're not accurate.
But I digress.
So here's for our viewing audience, we have the mini Draco, a little picture of it, what you can maybe expect. I don't know. Are you going to have any different features?
So we'll have a mini eventually. We'll have a micro, but the micro is the best selling one, which is actually the next smaller version than this one. But as you can see, the MSRP on these has drastically grown over the years, and that isn't just because of the popularity of them. It's genuinely because, like you said, we're at the mercy of the manufacturer, and that manufacturer is, halfway across the world. If you keep scrolling down, there you go, right there. So that's the micro. So it's at the mercy of the manufacturer. They say, hey, listen, this is the new price. Either you want it or we'll find somebody else. While that's great and they have a quality product that we absolutely want, we want to be able to control our own destiny and be able to keep a level of consistency to the consumer. And that's what we're going to be able to do when we manufacture this in the United States. So we're really excited not only to bring the quality and the popularity of the gun in-house, but also then be able to control that price and make sure the consumer can get it at a price that everybody can afford.
So can we expect the price to come down for the U.S. made? Is that what we're
absolutely? Absolutely. This one is being designed with the intention of having it at a more approachable price.
Yeah, and you won't see this as often out of stock.
I think it's still going to be very popular. I think we're going to struggle to meet demand on a regular basis. Yeah. But let's just say the level of volume that'll be more readily available will definitely increase.
Founded in 2012, IWI-US is the USA-based subsidiary of Israel Weapon Industries Limited of Ramat Hasharon, Israel. The IWI-US line of products includes the Tavor X95, the Uzi Pro pistol and SMG, the Galil Ace line of firearms, and the belt-fed Negev line of light machine guns. IWI's mission is to bring the highest quality firearms with real world-proven reliability to the U.S. commercial and law enforcement market. IWI-US are proud sponsors of the Talking Lead AK Corner and the Leadhead Brigade. Check us out at www.iwi.us and on social media under IWI-US.
Now, will this, by you doing the U.S.-made versions of this, is this going to eliminate the importation of the?
No. Just as we have, like we said, the BFT47, which is an American, we still have the Wasser relationship. We now have the CGR relationship, the Dracos. No, we're going to continue our partnerships because there's ultimately demand for everything, and everybody has a little bit different flavor profile that they prefer. Yeah. So why not offer them all? And
we didn't talk about the price point on the CGRs. Do you have the MSRP?
Yes.
I mean, I can go to Atlantic.
The Wassers now have creeped up to about $1,000. Is where you're seeing Wassers somewhere anywhere between 900 and 1,000. You're able to see. I know it's crazy, but the CGR rifle is retailing pretty much everywhere across the country under $800, which is a very, very strong price for an imported AK that has all of the features that have become synonymous with an imported AK.
Yeah, I think the demand for these are going to go up too. They're going to start probably see that price creep up. So you probably should get them now.
Well, if so, that's not on Century.
No, that's not you guys. That's the aftermarket.
Oh no,
that's the Taylor Swift effect.
Yeah, no kidding.
I feel like she just had a pimple pop up. The fact that her and guns were mentioned in the same sentence.
Oh, I hope so. I hope I caused some sort of ulcer on her little booty.
So it's funny you said the price points are right around $800. With Atlantic's got them for $775. Guess what? The cheaper than. $930.
That's cheaper than dirt.
Who is still supporting them? Oh man,
I don't know. We're not going to talk about that. We don't talk trash about people.
Don't know any better.
We don't talk dirt about dirt. So let's do this. Let's go to listener questions. And while I'm doing that, you ask your.
I wanted to say a thing, but I'll just shut up.
No, you do that while I'm pulling up the questions.
I don't think you wanted to say this thing.
Oh, okay.
No, I do want to say a
Good thing I can edit.
Actually, one of the and we've been talking about this actually for a little while now. But one of the smartest things you guys did recently, or in combination with the Draco people, is the 9S with the Scorpion magazines. Partnering with the Magpul guys, making the Magpul Scorpion magazines, and
right.
It just. And I'm not telling you anything new, but I'm telling the audience, it just looks right. The NAC 9 works. The NAC 9 works perfectly fine. It's a 100% reliable gun, but it doesn't have the sweep. It doesn't have the AK forward sweep. And let's face it, Americans are aesthetic people.
What about the 5.45? It's not swept. It's straight mag.
I agree with Paul, though. I get where you're coming from, Marty, but I 100%. I mean, the Draco 9S is definitely an example of Century listening to what the consumer wanted. The Glock mag at the time, when the gun came out, the Glock mag was far more predominant in the market. It was much more readily available. So it served the purpose when it came out. But as the pistol caliber carbine has grown, or as this case, an actual pistol, we recognized that there was a demand for a couple different things. Obviously, optics became hugely important. So there's that hinged dust cover, as we were talking about before, on the on the pick rail. There is a Scorpion mag now, which really adds to the aesthetics of it. And the Scorpion mags are readily available now, thanks to Magpul. And the price on them is readily available as well. I think they're like $25. They're not crazy, and it's a 33 round mag, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have one sitting around here somewhere. And another cool feature on it, it's got a last round bolt hold open, which has got some that's pretty cool that you don't really traditionally see on an AK. So a last round bolt hold open on this gun, and it's a light shooting gun. It's just a lot of fun to shoot.
They're tremendous.
Yeah, they're great. So I really appreciate it. And that's a new offering. That's yet another example of Century Arms saying, hey, let's continue to provide the consumer with something they want. And this is an imported gun. So it has that importation
That's exactly what this is, too, and that's kudos to you guys for offering something because you didn't have to. You didn't have to go to the links to offer this, because the regular NAC 9 was just fine and great, and people loved it, and it was selling great. You didn't have to do this, but you did, and
we could have gone the easy route and just said, all right, well, let's change the compatibility to a Scorpion mag. But then he said, hey, if we're going to do this, let's add some other features that people want too, and that's that hinged dust cover with the pick rail. Yeah. That is the last round bolt hold open feature. Those are some of these. You got the sling swivel on the back, which can easily be removed to mount a brace. You can SBR this and easily mount a little pick rail there to then have a stock. There's tons of things you can do to this gun to really, like I said, customize it, and it's. Thank you for calling that out, Paul, because we've been very excited about this as well. And it's just one of the new things that you can find that Century's bringing to the market.
There you go.
Yes, indeed.
All right, let's do the listener questions. Listener questions. So I made a post, and as usual, you guys just flooded to it. We've got tons and tons of questions, and we may have already answered some of these, but I'm just going to start here with FPS Murdoch. And he says, what country originated the AK dong lower handguard, and why? Paul, do you know that?
Oh,
was it
one of the Soviet bloc?
Soviet bloc? I thought it was going to be one of the Korea.
It's one of the former Soviet ones. We talked about that during the underfolder, the side.
We touched on it, but I don't know if we actually talked.
Yeah, we touched on it.
Where it was from?
I can't remember. Is it Bulgaria?
We'll come back to that one.
It's weird because the pistol grip and the dong, they're identical. They just were pointed in different directions.
Yeah. The angle of the dangle,
I've seen a ton of information about it, obviously being Romanian. The Romanian AKs had a ton of dong furniture available that still you can see that there. But I think that's an absolutely great question. I want to kind of cheat and Google it, but who knows even if that's correct.
You know what, Adam? That would be a great one for us to pick up in season 5 of the Talking Lead AK Corner.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there? That would be a great topic. We could probably do a whole show on it.
On the dong.
On the dong. So, next one, PPRN. He's got several here. What does the future of American-made AKs look like for Century Arms? I think we kind of went into that already a little bit. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I think we can answer that question and the question below it.
Any plans for a .223 caliber AK?
So, we know that two things. One, 7.62 by 39 isn't as readily available in terms of ammunition as it was 5 years ago. And, until U.S. manufacturers really started to embrace the caliber as a viable caliber to produce in volume, it's going to continue to be tougher. But people love the AK caliber or the AK platform. So why not chamber it in a caliber that's reliable the 223, 5.56 calibers. That is also reliable and price point effective. So let's just say they should definitely stay tuned to what we have at SHOT Show this year, because
could be more
we understand
dropping.
that 223 and 5.56 AKs are a lot of fun to shoot.
There you go. Oh, I like that.
Man. You hear that? You hear that whirring sound? That you hear that?
What is that?
That's James Yeager rolling over in his grave. People, stop asking for things that. Stop. Just stop trying to.
Keep pushing the limits. Keep pushing the limits.
Russian cartridges with Russian guns, American cartridges with American guns. There's a reason why the AK round by the 7.62 by 39 and also the 5.45 by 39, there's a reason that cartridge is designed the way it is. There's a reason it works so well in the AK. It's not a straight cartridge on purpose. Stop asking for things that you don't need. Just embrace it and move on.
Don't listen to Paul.
Say, well,
keep asking. Don't listen to Paul.
Blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, stop.
Keep asking.
I think, Paul, I think you're 100% right that obviously things were designed to fit. You don't put a boat motor in a Corvette and expect it to run the same way. But with that being said,
but people do put Corvette motors in boats.
That's what I was going to say. I was literally going to say that. Sometimes it works. It's a mutant when it does, but sometimes it works. And I think that as a gun manufacturer, I think it is our responsibility to hear what the consumer wants and at least give it an honest try. And I think that's
well, then, but here's
nail on the head.
It's your job to sell people stuff. It's my job to teach people how to use stuff. And the 223 AK has been around for a long time. The problem with it is, number one, magazines. 223 magazines for AKs never either A, they're crazy expensive, or B, they're cheap and they don't work. That's reality.
The feeding issues with AK mags and
Paul,
223 are tough.
You would be a multi-millionaire over again if you would design a 5.56 curved magazine.
You can't. It doesn't work.
You can do it.
You want one that works? Okay, stop.
Get with Brian. Get with Brian. You guys can do it.
The Galil. You want an AK clone that works?
There you go.
Get a Galil.
There you go. But Century Arms has solved that problem. They're coming out with one, so just wait till SHOT.
Easy killer.
Wait till SHOT Show. Maybe they are.
We're
all right, next
really
question.
Cool things. We're excited.
Next question.
With that, anytime it takes trial, it takes learning from what you're doing. It takes feedback, and
it takes fearlessness is what it takes. Not listening to the naysayers like Paul and going and doing something that they say can't be done. That's what it takes.
He's not saying it shouldn't be done.
Yes, he is. That's exactly what he's saying.
I think he's saying why, but you know what? Why not ask why? So that's our answer on that.
Next question. Mustang Perry says, might be a little late, but what are the odds the 5.45 AKs come back around in popularity with a few manufacturers starting to make ammo? ? Are there other limitations that I'm not aware of? Thanks for another amazing season and great guests and sponsors. Mustang Perry.
Paul, get in there.
5.45 AKs.
5.45 AK is, despite what the naysayer said,
and ammo.
Over in Afghanistan, and they call that the poison bullet. The 5.45 by 39 is a tremendous cartridge, and Americans are too stupid to embrace it. Century did a really good job probably 10 plus years ago. I've got a Wasser 2, and what was the other one? It wasn't called the Wasser 2. It had the plum furniture on it. What was the specific designation? Remember that one?
5.45 or a 223?
Yeah, the 5.45 with the plum, the original plum furniture.
Oh, I know the Wasser. I can find it. Give me a second. Yeah, but go ahead.
Well, anyway, so Century did a fantastic job. They brought one in. It had the plum furniture. It was 5.45 by 39, and they said, "Hey, America, look at this gun that we have." I've been shooting the 5.45 for, I don't know, 15, 16 years or more, whatever. It's a tremendous cartridge. They did that. They brought it in. They offered it to America, and Americans, being who they are, went, meh. And so you got to go with what the consumer's doing. If you bring them a gun and they don't want it, then you say, all right, moving on. And that's what happened. And all of you guys out there who love 5.45s, I'm with you, brothers. But your neighbors are retarded, and they don't appreciate the value of that. And so it's like pushing a rock up a hill. You know, you how do you convince people to get out of their own way and embrace something good? It's tough. And then, of course, we had Comrade Barry, who signed a piece of executive legislation to screw us over. And that whole thing that Comrade Barry did, that was smoke and mirrors, and that executive order was designed, the 767, to screw American gun owners. Like, oh, you guys want to vote for Republicans? You want to be conservative? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to screw you. All
right, let's move on.
Public safety.
Let's move on.
So, yeah, the 5.45 by 39 is a fantastic cartridge if you can get one.
The reality, and I can surmise this real quick, Marty, is
okay.
The biggest thing is this, is there is a lot of opportunity to both import and manufacture AKs in a number of different calibers. But with the time it takes to work through the licensing and the deals to import, or the engineering and the manufacturing processes to make it, there's a lot of money that goes behind that. And with that money, obviously drives cost. But if we release something and it doesn't sell, because as much as the 10 people that are on the forum that say we really want it, there's another 90 that want a traditional AK in 7.62 by 39. So does it actually fiscally make sense to manufacture it? And that's something we're having to constantly weigh, because the reality is that so many people are just traditionalists in terms of 7.62 by 39. While it seems really exciting to have a 5.45 or a 223 AK, how many people are actually going to buy it? And are we going? We're still a business. And in order to keep going and keep making amazing things for the American consumer, we have to be profitable. And if the demand's not there ultimately, then we can't move forward with the project.
There you go. I got to ask
come
this.
Up with the name for that?
No, go ahead.
What that model was?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh, okay.
I start lagging out anytime I try to get on the interwebs right now. Russia.
So gotcha. I gotta ask Adam, for our video audience, you've got the Alpha Delta Romeo there behind you, and there's this sword. Is that a gun sword?
No, actually, so you got a gun up there, you got all kinds of stuff. It's just some cool trinkets I've acquired through our travels across the years. You know, Century, obviously, like I said, has a wide-reaching global network, and with that, we have to go to some pretty crazy places across the world to, continue our business. And there's some trinkets I found in little shops.
The handle looks like you ever watch the Forged in Fire shows and things. It's like one of those.
It's actually an original Spanish military sword that I found while I was over there at a little shop. So I was able to pick it up. So it's pretty cool. So
in Adam's defense, for his lack of being on the show this season, he has been traveling a whole lot. And then your latest travels took you to Las Vegas. Do you want to talk about that a little bit later?
Yeah, we can mention that. It was a pretty cool opportunity. So definitely. It's
more ways that Century is reaching out and broadening the 2A community. So this is from Henix, HEINIXC. Greetings from Communist Republic of South Africa. The only AK we are able to get here is the Norinco Type 56. Any thoughts on reliability of them? Also, Magpul is basically the only aftermarket parts we can get here. Is it worth getting their mags, or should one import mags from the U.S. from other manufacturers / suppliers? Said, I came across the AK Corner in Season 3, binged the first seasons, became a leadhead since, and now waiting for the next batch of AKs to land in my country to get my first SLR, if the government will allow one. So his main question is about the Norinco Type 56 and then aftermarket furniture, if he can get it in his country. Magpul seems to be the only thing you can get right now. Paul?
Dude, there's nothing wrong with Magpul magazines for the AK. The Gen 3 ones with the metal lips or the metal latches, those are fantastic. And if you can't get those, just get the other ones, mark them, and when they wear out, just throw them away and get new ones. The Norinco, you should have no problem with the Norinco. I mean,
yeah,
how many millions of people have died from the business end of those? So, I mean, hell, the Chinese are killing their citizens with them every day, so they must work.
We wish we could get them here. Adam, do you guys ship mags to South Africa, or is that where he's at? South Africa?
I don't believe we currently. U.S. Palm, I don't think currently is available in South Africa. Africa as a whole is a tough country or a tough continent to
get
work
stuff
with on certain
into.
dynamics.
Yeah, but I appreciate you listening. It's good to know that we've got listeners in South Africa. We are worldwide, by the way. That just proves
That's true.
That just proves it. This one is from Skylar BK1. What would be the first upgrades? I think he typoed here. What would be the first upgrades you would do to a 73 Wasser or any older AK? First AK, and found this podcast from looking up about Fuller, and have loved all the information I've been gathering from it. Thanks for everything you and the people you have on bring to the table. So, thank you.
Paul, I'm sure can say a lot more on this. To me, the first thing I do on an AK is I change the grip. The grip to me, it works for what it is, the original, but I'm a bigger guy, I've got bigger hands. Also, just the texturing on it, I'm changing the grip. But obviously, U.S. Palm is a grip.
I hate those broom handle.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate those.
For me, it changed my ability to shoot the platform astronomically, just as simple as a grip. And it could be a U.S. Palm grip or any grip that ultimately is the most comfortable for you. But hands down,
Adam has to put two U.S. Palm grips on his to fit his big hands. he doubles up on the grip.
You know who actually we're missing today and who could answer this question perfectly is Brian.
Drew could too.
Brian. Yeah, Brian or Drew could both. But a lot of the Wassers, the original Wassers, were really rough. You know what I mean? And they came pre-sharpened from the factory, which is why we wear gloves when we shoot AKs. Yeah, if you're going to bleed shooting a rifle, you're going to bleed shooting an AK. So no, it's not this, and those things aren't necessarily add-ons. It's just like little touches that you put on that like whether it's Fuller or or Brian over at Occam, those guys know exactly those touch points where they can be improved. And let's face it, for the tens of hundreds of thousands of Wassers that were produced, some of the magwells were a little and could use a little bit of work on them. Would you say that's fair, Adam?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, I think they've gotten a lot better in the last decade.
Oh, for sure.
Like you said, you got to remember these things were being pumped out of government facilities by people that maybe didn't necessarily even want to be there, and a lot of them were being pumped down as fast as possible for military use, straight off the line into the field. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be times where accuracy and consistent cuttings and bevelings weren't exactly the biggest priority when it came to just pumping them out as fast as possible. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that there were, especially before, used to be some inconsistencies in terms of especially the receivers.
Yeah. All right. So this next question, I made a post on my stories a few days back, and it had a giant dump tray. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but it was like huge. You could park your car on it. It was so big. That was a trick. It was like what's the company that makes those really realistic firearms that look like the real things?
Oh, but they're like 1/8 the size.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just actually saw one of those the other day. I can't think of the name though.
Minigun or something like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember, but anyway, they had an AK version. So it was one of you listeners that made the post. And I shared it. He had one of those toy replicas, and he had his dump tray that he won by listening to the podcast. So it was a joke. It wasn't really a giant dump tray.
Those things are great. You know, you sent me like 4 or 5 of them to the office, and I had them on my desk, and the next day I came back and I had all but one on my desk, and all of them were gone except for one, and now even the one I had is gone. So
we'll send you some more. You know, Hodor will hook you up. We'll get you some more.
David Edelman, the guys over at Mission First, they are just fantastic. You know, if you're ever looking to support a business that genuinely supports the community, it's not just out there to make a buck. I mean, technically, on some levels, they're a competitor at US Palm, but they are great. You know what I mean? But they are great people. Yeah. They make great product, and I mean, I own a lot of their stuff, and it's always been reliable.
They make great AK stuff. They've got a new handguard for your AR now. I said AK, meant AR. They make great AR rails and furniture. They're minimalist stocks, and we're giving this away. So the 10-year Talking Lead giveaway is underway, too, for you listeners who aren't participating. We'll talk about that in a minute. And an AP5 is up for grabs in that giveaway. So stay tuned for that. But no, B. Hurst, that was it was just a trick, man. Dave might. I mean, he might consider making a giant park your car dump tray. I don't know. You could work under it and catch the oil, because I'll use these for my gunsmithing. You know, I work on my guns with these. I put all my oily, greasy, dirty parts, and they clean up. I've used this one several times, and it looks brand new. And
they're great.
Good stuff. What are they going to do about arm braces and SBR off the list? And SBR off the list. That's another show.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1 till Paul's head explodes.
Yeah. Why is there a question mark on season 5? Isn't it only inevitable that we're going to have a season 5? I don't know. You just never know. Old Tennessean, when will we get a true AK versus AR field competition episode? Well, we'll see if season 5 happens. Ryan Reisner, I'm actually curious on when Century Arms was established and some history on the company. So there you go, Ryan. We took care of you today. You're welcome. Bobus 1776, what design features should actually be redesigned, removed, and or replaced with another gun? I guess he's talking about AK features. Why? What would you add to the AK that is missing from the current design? So there you go. You got any feedback on that, Paul?
I was going to say a bottle opener, but then I remembered that the magazines are bottle openers, so that's it.
You can take the bolts apart, and you can use those and all that.
I mean, ultimately, it goes back to what Paul said. Listen, we all know there's definitely modern iterations of platforms of firearms anywhere you want to look, and they're always going to continue to grow. But the AK is synonymous with an iconic platform that has worked over and over and over again through countless conflicts, through countless tests, torture tests.
Yeah.
The gun works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If you want something new, absolutely continue to grow, continue to build a brand. But if you're looking to change the original AK-47, in my opinion, just as a loyalist to the platform, not even as somebody that works for the company, it's great the way it is. You don't look at a 69 Mustang and go, man, that car is really cool, but I wish it had a CD player in it. No, the 69 Mustang was iconic for being the 69 Mustang. You know, that's the reason. And some of these classics, that's the reason Ford went back and started making the cars to look more like the classics, and Chevy and all them did. Because some of these things are so iconic, and we wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't had these iconic platforms that start the revolution. And I think that's what there's to be said about the AK-47 is it's great just the way it is. If you want something new, get something new. But if you want to appreciate something that's timeless and tried and true,
and
AK-47.
I agree with that. And it has been redone. It has been redesigned. Look at these other countries. Look at the Galil. You know, that's what the Galil is based off of. So if you want something other than what you are offered through, you know, your traditional AK-47, AKM, then look at, you know, the Galils. Look at the VZ58s. We did a show on those. VZ58s, the Valmets, you know, there are other iterations of it out there that have gone and made design changes, but the basic functioning mechanisms, what drives the AK are fundamentally the same, and they work, and why change those?
Yeah. It's a good question, but I just think it's
Yeah, and I think maybe he's thinking more of, like dust covers and, getting rails and, things like that. And companies are coming out with those and making those, so aftermarket products are coming, just like ARs.
Like cool handguards and stuff to do, and different ways to mount your optics and different stocks. So I think those are awesome. And then it goes back to what we were talking about with Canik. People having the ability to customize their rifle to both show the expression of who they are, but also functionality for them. But I think when you come to the internals of the AK, you got to remember, like I said, this is a controlled explosion. If you start getting too precise and too dialed in with these things, you're going to start creating issues, because they weren't created to be precise. They weren't created to fit exactly perfectly and lock in. If you ever watch an AK shoot in slow-mo, it looks like the thing's coming apart every time, because that's how it was designed. It was designed out of sheet metal. And when you start talking sheet metal, you're not talking about having the ability to customize it and have the sexiest lines, and it's a tool, and it's a really good one.
Yeah. This kind of goes along with that. This is J. Edgar Paradox, or is this ESOM? No, this is ESOM 87. No, J. Edgar Paradox. What was the reason for the different rivet placement on the Type 56 and Mac 90 versus the AKM front trunnion? This may be a question for Brian. You got any news on that, Paul?
No.
We'll
I know my place, and I know not to venture into that pond.
Drew would probably know that too. We'll get an answer for you, or we'll cover that in season 5, if we have season 5. Question for Lefty and this episode's guest. What is your favorite thing about the AK? Thanks for another kick-ass season. Can't wait for season 5. ESOM 87. I like the looks. Just it's aesthetically, it's just the history. It's just iconic. It's got that iconic look, and it's just beautiful to look at. That's what I like about the AK, and it runs. It's reliable. You can torture the shit out of it. You can put it through any environment, and it still will come out on top running. Maybe not running like a top, but it will come out on top running.
Mine is you shoot it. Like, honestly, I been blessed to have the opportunity to shoot some really cool guns and some stuff that I've always wanted to shoot since I was a kid. But there's nothing like shooting an AK. It really is just, get out on the range, you pull the trigger, you feel the way the gun functions in your hand, and then when a 7.62 by 39 hits that steel down target, down range, you know it. And it just has a different sound. It has a different feel. Just everything about it is so synonymous with just the AK. It's not like, oh, the AK shoots like this. No, an AK shoots like an AK. You might have an AR that feels kind of like a P90 or a this or a this or a this, but an AK shoots like an AK, and there's no...
Very distinctive. What's the Gunny Highway quote from Clint Eastwood?
It makes a very distinctive sound when fired upon you, or fired at you.
Yeah.
The preferred weapon of the enemy, and it makes a distinct sound when it's fired at you. Yeah. No, I think the greatest thing about the AK in the United States of America is the fact that even though all the struggles that we're going through right now, at this moment in time, if you are a citizen of the United States, and then that takes away places like New York and Maryland and California, but if you're a citizen of the United States of America, you can possess that weapon, that instrument of liberty. And a lot of the guys, when I was a younger guy, and my mentors were all Vietnam veterans, they viewed the AK as the weapon of the enemy. It was taboo. It was something that you shouldn't even want to shoot. You shouldn't even want to hold that thing, because it's the weapon of the enemy. But what we've done is we flipped that on its head. People say, well, how can you own a gun that was made blank, fill in the blank, Turkey or this place. I'm carrying it as a citizen, as a free man in the United States of America, and that means something. And all the other stuff. The fact is, and I actually had a pistol class about a month ago, but I had some rifles with me because that's me, and I always have them. And before we started the class, Jared and I were doing some work with the AK, and it was I actually had the Visca out there on the range, and after the class was over, you know, some of them were asking like, "Hey, we saw you were shooting rifles when we pulled up. You know, what's that all about? And when we got to do a rifle class?" And so I pulled it out, I showed them the Visca, and two of the women in the class were like, "Can we shoot it?" And I said, "Sure." So I took them up there and let them. And the one she was like shaking. She was so nervous. She's like, "Is it going to kick? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to kick?" And because it's a 30 caliber firearm, but that's one of the great things about that is she shot it and then she's like, "Oh, that wasn't bad at all."
Bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and people have this perception like it's going to be this massive recoil. Like, no, it's actually not. It's actually, and you can put a big piece of lead down range without, you know, bruises or, you know, with no ill effects. So,
You're not triggered. You're not triggered.
Yeah, they're not triggered.
Triggered. They don't have PTS after shooting it.
It's good.
Good deal. All right, let's go to the next question. Giddy up. This is a good question. What's the biggest change you didn't expect in the AK market in the last 5 years? We'll start with Adam on that one, because
That's
you
an
guys.
Adam one right there.
Yeah, I think, you know, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is while the AK is, you know, in high demand in the U.S., the reality is probably 10 to 1 is the demand for the AR. You know, I mean, let's call a spade. That for every 10 ARs sold in the U.S., you're probably selling one AK. So the fact that you have seen so many companies really get into the space, as I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, was something that was surprising to me. I think it's actually a good thing. I think the buyer should be conscious of that and make sure they do their research and not just go with what quote unquote public recommendations are. Do your research, look into it. If somebody says a gun is bad, what do they actually know about it? You know, do the research, see what the people that you do trust, people like you, Lefty, people like you, Paul. You know, you have no motive to lie because ultimately, or to give misinformation at any point, because ultimately, if you're telling something that isn't true, you're going to lose credibility and thus lose your livelihood. But I think the fact that it has grown so much, the AK market has grown so much, is something that's surprising. I think it's a benefit for everybody, especially for aftermarket parts and things like this. The more is out there, the more companies want to get in and start doing creative things. Companies like JMac Customs and, you know, Occam and stuff like that. They're doing some really cool things for aftermarket parts that are actually feasible and actually make sense. So yeah, just the popularity and the way it's grown and become such an acceptable part of the 2A community is something that's really interesting to see and surprising.
What about consumer-wise? Is maybe something that you didn't expect? You know, like the mag for the CZ mag or the Scorpion mag for the Draco. I mean, what's like something that you didn't expect would be something that they would ask for that you actually delivered?
So that's a great question.
We didn't see that coming.
Yeah, got me. You know, I think the biggest surprise on the AK market is, like, from the consumer, how people are embracing, the consumer that is embracing the AK is, it's not like you're having to, then you've got their attention because they bought their first AK. Now you have to like convert them to be an AK guy over an AR guy. It kind of is interesting is, a lot of these guys have an AR and have an AK, but as soon as they get into the AK market, they're kind of all in. You know, it's not like you have to do a ton to really sell them on it.
Yeah.
They all of a sudden, like, you watch the community that goes to like these AK matches, like Kalash Bash and Red October and stuff, and they are so heavily invested and so passionate about it. And some of them, it's not like they've been in it for 30 years. They've got their first AK a year ago and just loved it, and loved the community behind it, and loved the message behind it. That they're out there and they're buying they're supporting it with their wallet, which is the ultimate sign of endorsement. You know, that just how strong and how adamant the consumer is once they kind of immerse themselves in the AK culture. So it might not be a specific answer in terms of they really like to buy this furniture, but it is how deep they go into the community once they actually get an AK and how often that happens.
Yeah. For me, probably the biggest, thing that I didn't really expect is to see the events like you mentioned earlier, like Kalashtober, Ken up there in was it Connecticut or Massachusetts? I always get it mixed up. He's up in the east.
Ken Allen, yeah.
Yeah, Ken Allen with Kalashtober and with Kalash Bash down in Texas with Clay and the guys from Dissident Arms, Mike and Lan, and the Red October in Vegas. So we've got as you're going across the country, and there's a lot of smaller ones that are popping up, just that are AK specific events, shooting competitions. I really didn't I didn't expect to see it happen that quick, I guess.
Exactly.
I was thinking more of they're going to integrate them into the existing 3-gun, competitions and things that are there instead of just spinning off and just having their own special,
But it's such a different competition. It's such a different shooting style, so that you really can't. I mean, you could, but ultimately, it's a completely. We know with an AK, the stopping power is drastically increased, but we also know the mobility and the things that there are advantages to the AR. There's always going to be advantages to any two platforms you look at.
Yeah.
And that's why, honestly, don't get me started. This is a whole other rabbit hole. But I think the guys that are using Galils at these AK competitions, I don't think it's fair. I think there should be a completely different division just for the Galil. But that may or may not have been because I've gotten smoked a couple times by guys running Galils and I'm running a traditional AK. So hypothetically,
hi, Jeremy Gresham. Jeremy at IWI, sponsors of the Talking Lead AK Corner. And also they have a Tavor up in our giveaway we're going to talk about. But no, I mean, I think that's part of a healthy competition too, is to have an AK versus an AR versus a Galil, and best man wins. Yes, I like the specific events for ARs, for AKs, for cowboy shooting,
PCC,
Western shooting, PCCs.
Exactly,
yeah.
100%.
I like the fact that there's variety, and you can go and you can put your AR up against the country's best ARs, and you can put your AK up against the country's best AKs. But I also would like to see a competition where it's the best rifle, the best AK, AR, Galil, whatever it may be. Just put them all against each other and see who wins.
You're running the Indian and the arrow argument together there and see who comes down on top.
Yeah, it's just let's just do it. Let's just do it. But yeah, that was something that surprised me. Within the past 5 years is the amount of the AK specific events that have popped up and the popularity of them. And they continue to grow, and I want to see them continue to grow. These are really good questions. And then like 80% of the questions here have to do with the 5.45. So tons of questions about the 5.45. I think we'll wrap up with this one, and this will be a question for you, Adam. I had it here and I lost it. It is from Arms of Cascadia. It says, question for Century. Will we see any more Setmes or C93s? I've got the roller delayed itch again.
That could not be more timely of a question.
Is this another shot question?
Oh, yeah, this is me trying not to get fired.
Another season 5 question?
No, I don't mind. So a couple different things. So one, obviously we talked about the AP5 program earlier, the roller delayed.
Yeah.
And traditionally over the last couple of years, it's been offered in 9mm. We are very excited at SHOT Show to be introducing a larger portfolio of roller delays from MKE that may incorporate some calibers with a little bit more knockdown power. I can say that on that side. And there's a second answer to this question. So when we were talking about like Setmes and things like this, my assumption is one of the references would probably be to the C308. C308 we ran a big program with and had a lot of them available a couple years back. Just as in any surplus parts kit program runs, when the parts are out, so is the program. Century has tirelessly been scouring the globe for the last couple of years to find another program similar to that. And another program has been found and has been acquired.
Ooh.
And the beginning of production has begun on not the exact same, but in my opinion, Yeah, I know. In my opinion, the 60,000 units of this platform, a little bit more modern, and just as cool, if not, just not cool. Yeah, let's just say 60,000 units are currently being shipped over to be assembled in an American compliant version of a platform very, very similar.
Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you
but
say.
We're really excited. It's something going to be very new. There will be hints to it and start to talk about it in the next couple months. But it's a very big program. I'm excited to get one of the first ones. And obviously, Talking Lead and Paul, you guys will be right there on the list to get them and try them out the gate.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Yeah, like I said, the rest of these questions, I mean, a lot of 545 questions. That's obviously a hot thing, high in demand that people are wanting.
And so that's what we go back to what Paul said. We know it's out there. We know it's a great caliber. If we're going to invest in something like that, without even trying to sound, just as a gun guy myself, if you're going to be out there and you're going to be passionate about it, you got to be willing to put your dollar where your mouth is, and you got to go out there and you got to get it, because ultimately these companies are not going to be able to continue to grow that demand or that platform without actually seeing their business decisions being justified by sales.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of companies in our industry that got burned by internet forums. The forums were screaming for fill in the blank. And so the company's like, all right, we heard you. They do it. They sell 118 units and, are out $250,000 in debt because
and somebody's getting fired. Somebody's losing their job over that too. I mean, that's not something that's just like a little thing. If somebody goes and says, hey, listen, if your market research consists of forums, which nowadays is a viable option, but if it consists of forums and then it doesn't translate to sales, it's not good. It's not good.
So great questions there, Leadheads, and there's a lot of other ones on here. Maybe I didn't get to yours, but like I said, a lot of you were asking the 545. FPS Murdoch, Pew Pew RN, Mustang Perry, J. Edgar Paradox, Nikolai Alpanap, Flood Munitions. We talked about Dracos, so there you go. Flood. Giddy Up.
Flood Munitions, I'm seeing those guys, they're commenting on everything now. Like those guys, whoever's running that social media page.
Oh, that's Flood. That's one guy. It's him.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I'm
Evan.
saying he's just on it all the time.
Evan Floodman. He was on the History Channel's Ultimate Marksman competition.
But that man is on his phone at least 20 hours a day.
He's a go-getter. He's got a good YouTube channel, so if you guys haven't followed him, go check out his YouTube and his Instagram. He's doing some good work there. Giddy Up, Glautru, there's another FPS Murdoch, Arms of Cascadia, another J. Edgar, Esom, 87, Boba, 1776, don't see a lot from you. Thank you for taking part. Ryan Reisner, we did the history with Ryan, so good question. Old Tennessean, B. Hurst, Lance Reynolds, Bass in Texas. He was doing the 545 questions. Shep Guns, is Magpul furniture worth putting on a Visca? I love the wood that it came with, but it's a little short. Or would you recommend something besides Magpul? There's all kinds of options out there, viable options that you could go with, but it depends on what look you want. What you're using it for. So, you guys want to comment on that?
I mean, yeah. There's a Visca version that came completely stocked out in Magpul. Magpul's great furniture. Yeah. For me, I think if it's my only AK, I'm keeping it kind of the traditionalist look. I want the wood. It's kind of what separates it apart from everything else. Exactly. If you've got more than one and you want to really start getting customizable, go for it. Ultimately, it's your.
If you've only got one AK, leave the wood on it. If you start getting multiple AKs, then get into customizing, personalizing it, and making it your own. That's my suggestion. You can tell me to go to hell. I don't care. But thanks to our South African listener, Heinix, which that may mean something in South African. I don't know. And Skylar BK1. So thanks to everyone who participated. I'm going to randomly go through, select one of you listeners to win a Mission First Tactical AK Corner Century Arms dump tray. And I'm just going to scroll.
How many guys did you have comment on that page, roughly?
Close to 40.
I'll tell you what we'll do, just to make it fun.
Yeah.
So US Palm came out with the limited edition. We re-released the Banana Mag.
Yeah, the Banana Mag, yeah. A lot
Yeah.
of our listeners have
I
won
didn't
those.
get one of those.
You know what?
Well,
Well,
but that's
so here's
okay.
what we'll do. Including Paul, everybody that is in a state or country, South Africa, sorry,
that is legal.
That is legal in it. If they send you in their information, and we give them 2 weeks. Give them 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
They can get you the information. We will send them one of the limited edition US Palm Banana Mags with the patch, just for being involved in it. We really appreciate it. We appreciate
Nice.
you guys listening. We appreciate the support. And like I said, this is a community, and you got to be active in order to kind of support a community. So the fact that you took the time out of your day to listen, to comment, to ask questions, we'll take care of you too.
That's awesome. And you guys have been taking care of the listeners for several years now, and they greatly appreciate it. I know they're going to love those mags. So awesome. Thank you, Adam. So the winner of the dump tray, we're going to randomly go through. And I'm just, what?
Go for it.
I'm going to stop. And it stopped on Bobus 1776. And Bobus asked what design features should actually be redesigned. So we went into that one and talked about that. So email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. I'll need your shipping information so I can forward this on to Dave and the guys over at Mission First Tactical. And then we're also giving away a SEAL 1 complete gun care kit, which these are perfect for AKs. And especially if you're shooting that corrosive ammo, these things help prevent and clean up corrosion in your firearms. Keep them lubed and ready to go. SEAL 1. So our winner for that, Paul, I'm going to let you pick. Go randomly through there.
Question number 38. 24. I can't see it.
Okay. Pick a number.
I don't have the 18.
He said 24.
He said 24?
24.
All right.
24, yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Lance Reynolds Bass in Texas. And that's 24 from my view of what I'm doing based on the questions that were posted when we recorded this. So if you posted one after and you came up 24 after, too bad. So
You're in 2022 when you have to give that.
you got to disclaim everything. So Lance Reynolds, Bass in Texas, you win the SEAL 1 complete gun care cleaning kit from our good buddy Dwight over at SEAL 1. Email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. All the people who are eligible to win those magazines from US Palm, the Banana Mags, do those come with a patch too?
Yeah, it comes with the custom US Palm banana patch in there. All we need from you is just if they'll send you just maybe like a picture of their ID. Basically, we just need to know that you are legally allowed in your state and where it's going. While we may not agree with the fact that certain states don't allow things.
Yeah. So just send me your shipping address because that'll tell us what state you're in, and don't try to sneak one by us because if you can't have it, you don't get it. You're not going to get it. We're not going to jail
if
for you.
If you can't have it, then you've been screwing.
I think that was a perfect cutoff for Paul right there.
The government just cut Paul off mid-statement.
ATF just cut Paul off. And then the winner of our BFT47, the raffle for the sheepdog, email me, talkinglead@gmail.com, or they're going to get in touch with you, but email me and I'll forward your info, and they'll forward it to Adam so that Adam can make sure that you've got the FFL and all that, and you're legal to own one, because if you're not going to get it either. And I guess I'll just take it. But no, we'll give it back to Sheepdog. We'll give it back to Sheepdog, and they can raise more money. But I was mentioning earlier, Adam, we've got this other giveaway that we're doing, this huge 10 years of Talking Lead and Friends giveaway, and we've got nearly $10,000 worth of prizes that we're giving away in that. And I'm stalling my words because I'm trying to pull it up. Let me just quit talking and I'll pull it up. So you go to my website, TalkingLead.com. You can enter the giveaway here. And we've got 6 prize packages. And starting with prize package number 6, we've got an assortment of prizes here. We've got a optic from Crimson Trace. We've got a custom holster from Mission First Tactical and one of their drink koozies that's in the CS Riot configuration. Lockdown has put in several products. They've got a dehumidifier sensor, a rod. They've got some of their magnets, and they've got one of those awesome hide shelves. You can put your gun in there. Looks just like furniture. Boom, pop it down, you get your gun. And then our friends from Medical Points Abroad have put in this super awesome, Paul, this uber deluxe med kit that you can win in that prize package number 6. Prize package number 5 is, again, you're going to get another Crimson Trace. There's a Crimson Trace scope in that. There's Seal 1. There's a custom leather Kydex holster. And there's this cool Kraken case that's going to be in that. And ASP has put in a flashlight and a CS spray safety kit in that. Package number 4. Now we're getting to the good stuff here. Kel-Tec has put in a rare sub 2000 tan Cerakote, and it's a multi-mag. Paul, did you know they had a multi-mag variation of the Kel-Tec sub 2000? I didn't. It's news to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So it takes like SIG and Smith and Glock magazines?
This one has like 3 different ones. Glock isn't one of them, but it's like Smith and SIG. And,
it's metal mags. So it's yeah.
And it's got conversions that you can put in there to do the different mags. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And then Kraken case. You get a Kraken case with this. You get a Primary Arms red dot. You got one of their mini red dots there. And then Mission First is going to give you a nice big 36-inch gun case, which you don't need for a sub 2000, but hey, you can use it for another one of your guns.
Yeah.
Backpack would have been perfect for that, but we got backpacks in other packages.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get one of their big, giant drinking containers that's like a howitzer shell. So that's pretty cool. Package number 3. You got an AR-7 from Henry Rifles. That's one of those breakdown 22s that all stores in your buttstock. It's watertight, so you can take it in all the different weather climates. You drop it in the water, it's going to float. Pretty cool thing. And then Primary Arms. They've got a cool red dot that you can throw on that because it's got a railed top part, Picatinny rail. Kraken case, again, you're going to get an awesome Kraken case. You could probably fit that 22 after you break it down in that case. Mission First Tactical, this is the backpack. This is their big giant size. I think it's called the Warrior Pack is what they call it. You're going to get that and one of their cool Riot CS water bottles. Package number 2, getting even better. IWI has put up a Tavor. Got a Tavor 5.56, and it's the green. The green with your favorite color, Paul. The OD green there.
It's the X95.
Yeah, it is. It's the X95 something G because it's green. Primary Arms putting up an SLX MD25 for the Tavor. A nice optic that you're going to have on there. Mission First, they got it right this time with the big 36-inch rifle case. It'll fit perfect for this Tavor. Have some extra room to spare. And they're going to do their magazines. You're going to get a custom graphic 3-pack of their magazines, 30 rounds. Again, where legal. Kraken case, and one of their smoke drink wares. M80 red smoke style drinkware. And then package 1, Adam, what have we got here?
And we've got the AP5M, which is, like we talked about, one of the Century Arms imported MKE roller delay blowback firearms off of the licensed HK machinery. This is the Shorty. This one is iconic with the original suitcase gun.
Yeah.
I'm excited to offer it as part of the Talking Lead 10-year giveaway.
And we appreciate that. Sweet. And you can top it off with a Primary Arms SLX RS10 red dot. little mini reflex that'll fit perfect on there. It'll look great. And then again, another Kraken case in this package too. Those cases are awesome. It's the foam what makes these cases awesome. They've got this like memory foam, and you can put like a container of eggs in there and close it in this memory foam, and it won't crack the eggs. It protects. So if you've got some optics, you've got some perishables that you want to make sure that are protected, these cases are awesome for that. Mission First, they've got their Ambush 40 backpack in this one, which that AP5 will fit perfect in that. That'll be a perfect little backpack gun for that. And then another one of their awesome, it was like another howitzer shell drinkware. So
those are pretty cool gifts, man.
Nearly $10,000 in giveaways. You've got till the end of the month. Like I said, go to my website. There's links there. You go to my social media. I'm sure all of our participating sponsors have done things, and they've got links, so you can go visit their sites as well. I think we've got somewhere around, 20, 30,000 entries so far, and we're just halfway through it. So enter now and do all the things to get all the extra entries that you can do. So that's our way of giving back to our listeners, celebrating our 10 years of Talking Lead. We couldn't do it without all the support from you leadheads and the Leadhead Brigade. It's been an awesome 10 years. We hope to bring you another 10 years, bringing you awesome guests like Century Arms and Adam with Century. Drew is on all the time. We love Drew. Miss not having him here today. Paul Markel. Of course, you guys, I'm sure all of my listeners are already listeners of Student of the Gun, but if you aren't, correct yourself, as Paul says, and go subscribe and listen.
That's right, yeah.
To Student of the Gun.
So we're basically, we share very closely an anniversary, because we started Student of the Gun Radio way back in the olden days of the Firearms Radio Network in the infancy. Mm-hmm. And I think we started just a couple of months apart.
Yeah.
Because I started Student of the Gun TV in 2010, but we started the radio we launched the first week of March of 2003. No, 2013. Jeez. But so as the clock ticks forward, we've got a 10-year coming up too.
Yeah. We started December 2012, right when the what was that shooting? The Sandy Hook? Was that the one? And we're like, damn, there goes the end of anything firearms. Our show just went down the toilet. And here we are 10 years later. And the AK Corner, 4 years of the AK Corner. We're hoping to bring you a season 5. So stay tuned. And until then, make sure you go back. We got 4 years that you can go back and listen to. Just like the guy in South Africa said, he just started listening, went back and binged. So plenty of content for you guys to listen to until we bring you the next episode of the Talking Lead AK Corner. Thanks to Century Arms, our presenting sponsors. We greatly appreciate everything they do and have done for our show. Not only the AK Corner, but our regular show as well. Canic has gotten involved. We've given away some Canics in some of the past episodes. IWI, our good friend Jeremy Gresham, thanks to them for being a supporting sponsor of the AK Corner over the past few years. And, of course, Mission First Tactical, Dave, the guys over there at Mission First have been just phenomenal, taking care of you lead heads with all the swag and prizes that they just shower you with. So go show them some love. Seal One, also sponsors of the Talking Lead AK Corner. Greatly appreciate Dwight and his years of sponsorship with the show. We're looking forward to continuing our relationship with Seal One. And then also they give back. They're giving back to you with these discount codes. Go to Mission First Tactical, Leadhead, 20% off anything at Mission First Tactical. Seal One, use the code Leadhead. You're going to get 25% off anything at Seal One. ASP USA, they're putting up some flashlights and things for our giveaway that we're talking about there. Always on board for giveaways for our listeners. Use the code Leadhead, all caps, and they have upped their discount from 15 to 20%. So now you're going to get 20% at ASP USA. That's any of their products, the flashlights, the batons, the handcuffs. They've got some great products there. They got some CS spray. Very cool. And then, of course, Factory 47 for our AK Corner logoed apparel, shirts, hoodies, hats. You go to Factory 47, use the code LEADHEAD to get 10% off all your cool things there. So go support those that make this show possible, and hopefully we can bring it back to you for a season 5 coming in 2023. But Adam, Paul, thank you both for taking the time to be on. Greatly appreciate it. And
yeah, thank you for having me.
Much for having me.
And somebody's going to have an awesome Christmas, so make sure you go enter that giveaway that we're doing. 6 packages, 6 winners. The winners will be announced in the first episode of 2023 of the Talking Lead Normal Show podcast. So,
and Marty, if I may say one thing, I think it's important. It's first off, a lot of people don't say it anymore, but Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, brother. 2022, 2021 were some weird years. There was a lot of turmoil, but I think it's important as a community that we remember that we're all in this together. And I think even with that, I think it's important to remember those that aren't with us anymore, like James Jaeger. This is one of those years, Paul, obviously you mentioned earlier, that man was a character, but he had a big heart and was a good person, and the world's not the same without him. So this holiday season, I just say that everybody should hug the ones that mean the most to them, and remember that this is life is a gift, and that we are on this planet to protect our gift and protect those around us, and that's where the Second Amendment comes. I love you guys. I appreciate all that you guys do for the community. I appreciate what you do for me, and I look forward to 2023 with you guys.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. And Merry Christmas, Leadheads. Happy New Year, and we will see you in 2023.